Welcome, everybody, to our next episode of Get Your New View podcast. We have Cynthia Priebe as our special guest today. She's one of our senior consultants and trainers, and I've asked her to join us today to tell us some stories about customer success with training. What's the story that you brought with you today, Cynthia?
Well, Carrie, when you asked me to think about my training experiences and successes, this one in particular came in mind because this was a customer who thought they didn't need to do any training. They were in the middle of upgrading, and we had recommended that some training happen, that all of the users go through training, not just on the new features and functions that they would be experiencing with the upgrade, but also some basic usability, right? The user interface was changing, but more than that, you just don't know what people know. And we got a lot of pushback from the IT manager and the CFO because they said, we don't want to spend the money on this. Our users know how to use the system. And, if it's just a few new features, we can just give them training on that. So I thought, okay, this is not going to work. We are not going to have a successful implementation and maximize the utilization of the system without training, because we know how important training is, right? So I said, why don't we take a survey and let's find out how many of your users have had any formal training on the system. Oh, no, we don't need to do that. They've all had formal training on the system. So I think it was about 22 users, and the survey came back, and only 2 of those users got training, and it was the original training, but it was also 2 versions ago, let alone not the version we were going to. And convinced them to do the training, and it was amazing how excited the users got. And it was weird. It wasn't even about necessarily all the new functionality that they were getting with the upgrade, but it was, oh, I didn't even know we could do that. Yeah. Or, oh, W means work date and T means today. Oh my gosh. There was one user who didn't even know what F8 did.
Yeah.
It was just, and it was one of those, I can't remember which one said it, but, I need to eat crow because this was the best thing that we did. I'm glad you pushed us to do this.
Yep. Fantastic. No, that's a great story. And I love the examples that you gave because it illustrates something that we run into all the time with our training, even just the simple introductory training when we're reviewing navigation and personalization. There are so many little light bulb moments that are going off with all of our customers. And it doesn't matter if they've been somebody who's brand new to the system or if they've been using the system for years and years. Just that chance to spend some time on training brings to mind all those things that they're like, oh, I could be more efficient with doing that, or I did learn that a few years ago, but I forgot about it, and I really should start using that again. Yeah, I love that.
There's even, go into another example here real quick, where it was a situation with users that were trained by other users. And they did learn a lot from those other users, and they did learn how to do it, their company way. But I had the opportunity to share with that group. I said, okay, yeah, you've got these great internal users. Well, when they learned how to use the system, they learned a full sheet of paper, right? Uh-huh. And what they retained, and I know it's even less than this probably, but I'm just going to do my little example here. They retained about that much. Mm-hmm. And now they turn around and they train that next person. And that person retains that much. Mm-hmm. Yep. And then, oh, by the way, you get the picture. Yeah. So when I use this example and you talk about things like the T and the W and the F8 and just how to use some of the basic things, when I go through training, even the basic stuff, sometimes I learn something or remember or relearn something that I have forgotten because it's so much.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, there's a lot to learn and a lot to know and understand with this system. So, Cynthia, you've worked with lots of customers with training. And what are the big mistakes that you really see companies making when it comes to training?
Not doing enough of it. And when I say enough, it's not, oh, we have to have a week of 8-hour training sessions to go live. What I mean is We need to have sessions when we go live with something. We need to have ongoing training. And we might not always know what that training needs to be, but if we have a culture that we build or help a client or a customer build of inquisitiveness, right, or questioning, so that users are always thinking, hey, is there a better way to do this? And in the process of that, sometimes that better way is just getting basic training on how to use the system. And sometimes it's the same training again. It might be just a refresher version of something that you had earlier, because again, when we talk about that retention example, it doesn't hurt to go over it again. So doing training and then stopping, not continuing.
Yeah, absolutely. So what do you think is different when you think about how NewView does training? What's different for our customers?
Well, I know that I noticed a difference when I came on board with NewView Strategies and learned the NewView way. And I could see the difference in the students that I taught the NewView way as compared to teaching the way that I used to teach. And I think the biggest difference is that we try to get the information out there and present it to the student in all the different ways that people learn. And it's tactile, it's actually doing hands-on, it's letting them see the software in action, it's letting them see maybe a bulleted list on the screen, it's telling stories that are real stories, that are not, using the same example over and over again of Athens desks and blue chairs, because we can actually pull from real life examples. And then I think it's also the interaction that the students have with each other when we do the Q&A, and they actually, if it's a class where we're pulling from different customers, they're learning from different organizations and the way they do things based on the questions they're asking. Or if it's within their organization, they may realize that the other AP clerk that sits to the left of them is thinking or looking at the system differently and learns from them. So I think it's all of that combined, and you can't really have good learning if you don't have all of those components. And then it's repetition, repetition, and trying to make sure that whatever you're teaching at the beginning, you're kind of building on and carrying throughout the whole training.
Yeah, fantastic. One of the things that I really enjoy as an instructor myself, and I love hearing from our other instructors, are their stories about the aha moments that they hear from our customers. Can you think of any particular examples that you'd like to share of some aha moments that really made you smile?
Again, it's going to be some of these basics, I think. The two that come to mind. One is one of the real basics, and it's how you enter dates. Mm-hmm. And I watch users, and I painfully watch users type 01/01/21, and I say, or 2021, and I say, you can just do 0101. And they're like, really? Do you know how many times I enter the date? And I said, well, what date are you normally entering? Well, today's date, because I've got to put the posting date. What if I could take it down to one character for you? Seriously? and it's like one of those little things. But, if you're a data entry person and you're sitting there, every keystroke saves time. And this one user, as a matter of fact, she entered, this organization was still doing manual entry of orders. So the stuff was coming across in kind of a file format that they had to sit and key the orders. And they literally, these were those data entry people that I used to, time whether they could do enough keystrokes, right, to do it fast enough. So for her, this was huge. Yeah. Because she was not only entering posting dates and document dates, she was entering shipping dates, right? Yep. So, I mean, it was silly little thing, but huge thing. Just, she was beaming. This is back when we could do things in person. She was just beaming. The other one is really different in that I have the privilege of doing a permissions and security class. And we have a particular tool that we share, which is a matrix to allow users to sit down, let's say the IT manager, to sit down with the different team members and find out what they do in the system and help build a structure for setting your permissions up. And that's the part that most people fall down when they're doing the permission building. And at the end of the class, all these different students, all the stuff I showed them how to use in Business Central, and the number one takeaway was that planning tool. And so it just goes to show you, it's not always about how you do something in the system. That's what you can get off of just any general video, right? How to do this, take step A, B, C, D. It's really, how do you apply it?
Yeah.
How do you take that and make it work and end up with a result that's meaningful for the organization? And so that was a big aha moment, because I was like waiting for them all to say the permission recorder, and they all liked this matrix that I shared with them. So
right.
that was kind of eye-opening for me too. That was my aha moment.
There you go. I love it. Oh, that's a great distinction, Cynthia. I love those stories. And what a great chance for us to be able to share with other people a little bit more about our training. So thank you so much for being here on this episode.
Great. I loved it. Thanks.
I'm Carrie Peters. Thank you for tuning in to the Get Your New View podcast. For more episodes like this on YouTube, click the subscribe button and ring the bell to ensure that you get notified whenever there's new content coming out. If you're listening to the audio podcast, please share an honest review on Apple Podcasts. If you are ready to rethink today for tomorrow, look for the link below and contact us to speak with our expert team. You won't find the level of no-nonsense, real-world experience we offer anywhere else, and we're here to put that experience to work for you. Do you think you could use more features of your software if you just knew how? Are you frustrated with inefficiency that never seems to get better? Did your team ever really get good training to understand how to use your business software? Do you suspect there just has to be a better way, but you don't know what that is? We believe every company can benefit from increased efficiency and higher utilization of their software, and that it's possible to have fun while learning exactly how to do that. The experts at New View Strategies will tap into the true power of Dynamics Business Central and NAV for your company by helping you to rethink today for tomorrow. Please contact us at getyournewview.com to get started.